Okay, everybody. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Styling Advisory Podcast. I'm Sarah Cohen, your host, and today I'm also joined with Erin Mathis from the Style Core and CEO and co-founder of Beni, Kate Sanner. How are you both?
Doing good.
Really good. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. So Beni is an app and browser extension I came across recently, and that has become an absolute game changer for personal stylists. For those of you listening, I wanted you to think, how many of you identify as a sustainable stylist, or do you market yourself as someone that cares about ethical brands, ethical shopping practices? I've worked with many of you who absolutely love thrift shopping and have created services around that, or you're an ethical brand oracle. So you know all of the brands that have ethical manufacturing processes, as well as treating their staff, a certain way, using fabrics that are sustainable. But a lot of you have a community of clients that prefer a more sustainable approach to shopping. However, it usually takes hours to scroll through resale sites, online platforms, trying to find not only clothing in your client's size and color and style and that's available and within their budget, but then also to add in the sustainable element is just made it almost ineffective from a pricing perspective for stylists to offer this service. So when I came across Beni, I became really excited. It is a resale search engine that shows you the best resale alternatives to the item of clothing or accessory that you're looking for in just one click. So imagine next time you're shopping online and you find something that you like for your client, you can just click on the Beni browser extension to see a curated list of secondhand alternatives sourced from over 40 different resale sites like Poshmark, the RealReal, eBay, Rent the Runway, Vestiaire Collective, some of my favorites. The app actually searches through over 200 million listings on their database to show you the most relevant results in just a few seconds. This is, as I said, a game changer. So I'm really excited that we have Kate here today to explain the background, the genesis of Beni, and how stylists can use it to start selling services to clients that care about sustainability.
Yes, when Sarah first told me, we were just like practically jumping up and down. We immediately installed the extension. I've been using it for a little while now. It is so wonderful. So we're really excited that you're providing this tool for shopping.
So, Kate, let me just scroll down here. So Beni is a female-founded startup. Can you tell us a little bit about how and why Beni came about and the journey to bring it from, ideation to the iteration we see today?
Absolutely. So one, thank you so much for having me on. And I'm so glad that you guys found Beni kind of organically in the world. It shows that we are rapidly growing and that we're hitting the right people. So that makes me really excited. When we go back to the beginning of Beni, my co-founder and I met in business school. And she really had the idea coming from a sustainability lens. So she was looking at she was kind of the eco warrior in her friend group and the one that was always shopping secondhand and always thrifting, and got kind of tired of people saying, I know I should shop secondhand. You're so good at it. You always find good stuff. But I just, but then ultimately them not acting on that intention. And so when she dug in, it was kind of this understanding that search and discovery was a huge point of friction. People just didn't have the time or energy to go to the thrift store and sift through a bunch of things, or go to all these individual marketplaces and search through have all these different tabs open. And so it really sparked for her this idea that if we can make it easy enough, then all of a sudden people will change their behavior. I think I then joined her, not as much coming from the sustainability perspective, but was in grad school at the time and had less disposable income than I was used to. And I'm a big shopper, and I was like, I need a way to find the clothes that I like, but at a price that I can now afford as a student. And so it kind of was a great pairing because, we had this insight, but I was really the target user. It was like, if you can make it simple enough that I will do it, then we've got something really powerful. And so kind of fell in love with this idea that whether you care about sustainability or you don't, we can bring people into the world of resale and make this entire industry and ecosystem sustainable by getting people to change their behavior from kind of our current status quo, which is everyone or so many people buy new, and buy new as the default. It's like you're just programmed to get the Instagram ad and then find the thing, and you hit checkout before you've even blinked, to now suddenly nudging them in that moment to say, hey, there's other ways to get the thing that you want, often at a much better price and in a way that you can feel good about from a sustainability perspective. So kind of hit all the points. Hit all the points and
gap in
jumped
market
in.
problems. This is also, I mentioned to you why it's exciting to share your story with the listeners who are all styling business owners, who are all trying to sell their services and market themselves, and ultimately solve a problem for a client. And I was really fascinated to see a business like yours really genuinely solve a problem. Now, I know as a consumer myself, I can sometimes go down a rabbit hole, compounded by my hyper focus with the old ADHD, on Vestiaire Collective or the RealReal. And I could spend hours searching for things. It's time I don't have. And I also, even when I am searching, I'm potentially not buying things that are suitable for me. It's just, as you said, that kind of consumer mindset of just more. So did you do any, I presumably did a lot of research around the popularity of resale, the circular economy, sustainability. Can you share a little bit of your insights into the consumer side and the trend that perhaps stylists could jump on the bandwagon of?
Yeah, I think what's really exciting is that resale is exploding. ThredUP just put out their 2024 resale report, and they project that it will be a $73 billion market in the US alone by 2028, growing, I think it's seven times faster than mainline retail.
Wow.
And so I think there's a number of things contributing to that. One is people have less disposable income than they used to. And so I think a lot of people, are looking for ways to get the deal, are looking for ways to get nicer brands at a price that they can afford. And resale is an awesome tool to be able to do that. And so I think as more people pay attention to the quality of their clothes, as there is a lot of conversation about fast fashion and polyester and all these, materials that people are trying to consume less of, reality is those things are at a low price point. And so if you're used to shopping in that price point and you want something better, you might not be able to afford it. Resale is a way to get those nicer things without having to sacrifice on cost. So I think that's a big piece. And then there's also this kind of cultural currency to thrifting. I think, there might have been a stigma around used clothes 10 years ago. I think now there's actually a lot of cultural currency. People like to brag, you comment on my shirt and I say, oh, it's thrifted. Oh, I got it at this, awesome shop. And so I think there is also a coolness factor as people look for more original things, more unique pieces, and resale's a great kind of way to tap into that. You don't want to be wearing the same thing that everyone else is wearing. And so as you think about your personal style, resale is another way to kind of get those more interesting pieces and make it feel really curated to you.
And Erin, as a stylist yourself, I think we spoke about this the other day, the challenge of once you've created a color palette for a client, once you've created their style archetype or a document that outlines, who they are and how they'd like to reflect themselves in their clothing choices, sometimes you then come to a bit of a standstill because you're then limited by the current season trends. So if you've just done a beautiful, comprehensive 2-day transformation where you've curated this beautiful style for a client, and then you go in store and the only things available, as we know, everyone seems to jump on the same color, the same fabric, the same design for a trend, which is it's not accurate. So you are limited. Whereas if you had a cost-effective, fast, efficient way of searching resale sites, suddenly opens up the world of all the fashion that's ever existed. Surely that would make it easier for you to be able to complete the transformation.
It really just expands the options that we have to provide to the clients. And I can tell you that I installed this extension in my Chrome app. I've been shopping for some different clients. One client in particular, very high-end brand name designer labels. And she doesn't necessarily want to buy
firsthand.
What do we want to call it? I liked the term pre-loved. Pre-loved.
Oh, okay. Right. She didn't want to buy pre-loved. Right.
That's not her thing, but other clients do. They're on a budget. They want to look like, designer, top level, high level clothing, but they need
Lux
that.
For less.
But the thing that I love is that every time I'm shopping in all these brand name stores and looking at different items, let's say I'm looking very specifically for like a red blazer or something, there's Beni right in my window showing me the options that are gently used, that are resale. And it's very tempting for me because I'm trying to shop for this client. I'm seeing all these brand names. Oh my gosh, I can get it here for, on Poshmark for half the price. So it's always just there. It's very helpful. It's non-intrusive, but it's helpful. It's there. And for me personally too, just I feel so much better on my conscience when I can save the earth and not buy brand new all the time. So just win-win on multiple levels.
There must be also, I remember seeing a report a while ago on the Google trend results for terms like sustainable brands, sustainable shopping, so from a consumer perspective and in our industry, a client perspective, I think it's important that personal stylists and image consultants are sensitive to the temperature, what customers and clients are looking for these days. And whilst the term sustainability is thrown around a lot, I think if you as an image professional can make it easy for a client to have a blend of perhaps some new pieces, but then also supporting the circular economy, there is no downside. So did you notice, Kate, in terms of Google search results or hashtags or growing trends around the circular economy particularly?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is that there's definitely a lot more interest in sustainable brands. Where it gets really tricky is kind of how are we measuring that? There's a lot of greenwashing. There's a lot of skepticism. So I think that's not an area of expertise for Beni. I think where we kind of play is saying, regardless of how something was made originally, all of our clothes take a ton of resources to make, to produce, to ship over here, to whatever. And so once something is made, how do we keep it in circulation for as long as possible? And that's really where the impact comes from on the resale side. Customers are definitely paying attention to sustainable brands, but I think one of the challenges is that a lot of the brands that are made with next gen materials are claiming to be really sustainable often come at quite a premium. And so it's hard for those to kind of flood the entire market. I think you have to be a specific kind of buyer to be willing to pay a premium just on the basis of sustainability. So there's some awesome brands doing amazing things and really telling that story and leaning in hard. I think our perspective is kind of solving a different piece of that puzzle, which is regardless of how it was made, how do we keep it in its usable state for as long as possible? I think to the earlier point, though, I just want to add, it's been really interesting as I've gone on this resale journey and gotten like much more ingrained in the world of resale. I think there were a lot of people like your client who just said, oh, pre-loved isn't for me. And I think the beauty of Beni is kind of saying there are certain things where you might be, you might be opposed to buying resale.
I'm going to say a swimming
but
costume.
It is this. Yeah. So a lot of people, So there's certain items where you're like, I don't know if I want to buy that resale. I'm getting married in January and I was looking, I wanted for the story to buy, my wedding dress from a secondhand site. And then ultimately I found one that I loved new. And I said, for this moment, I don't want to buy it secondhand. I want a new one. But then you start looking at the rehearsal dinner and the, bridal shower and all of this stuff. And as I'm searching, thinking, for this occasion, maybe I will splurge and buy new, I'm then getting Beni results and I'm realizing, oh my goodness, there is so much stuff that still is new with tags, but is being sold on Poshmark, or likely was worn, especially in the bridal space, was worn one time, maybe to their rehearsal dinner. And then, it was worn for 3 hours. And then now they're selling it at 50% off. And so I think what is really powerful about the tool is that it really is just arming you with information. And it's okay if you still choose the new thing. It's just that when you're given the information and easily presented with the ability to compare, oftentimes the decision that will make most sense for you is to buy at resale. And so over time, you will start realizing, oh, I've got to check that before I buy new. I've got to check to see if there's something, better for my closet and my wallet.
Yeah.
And I think as personal stylists, our responsibility to help the earth and take care of it is to introduce this option to our clients.
Yeah.
And spread the word and say, you know what? I have this. I can help you find it. We don't even have to tell them how. We can just say, you probably want us to tell them.
She wants us to tell them.
Listen, we're going to tell you, I have this great tool. I will help you find, the gently used, the pre-loved items. And it's so much kinder.
It is just arming people with information and then allowing them to make the decision that's right for them. And I think the thing that's been exciting for us to see is that when they see the information and you realize what kind of deals you can get, and you realize that a lot of this inventory is in really good shape. You think about what's in your closet that you could put on a resale marketplace. It's like, oh, I wore this sweater 2 times. I realized the color wasn't quite right, or I just never ended up choosing it. And so, I put it on a resale site. That's the kind of inventory that you can get on the other side.
Well, also, one of the key services that an image consultant or personal stylist will provide is a wardrobe detox or closet cleanse, wardrobe edit. Same service, different language. And what often happens, obviously, Erin, you can give us more detail, but you will be going through someone's closet and saying, these are the things that probably don't align with your style personality now and your body shape now. That's exactly where the clothing needs to go, back into the circular economy, taking all of that clothing and not necessarily filling it with new things, but still, I guess the ethos is to buy smarter, whether that's from an economic perspective to save money, to save the planet, to reduce your carbon footprint. So interestingly, I wanted to know who's been sort of the biggest adopters of Beni so far. Do you have any data on who uses the browser extension or customer segments?
Yeah, so we have about 65,000 users at the moment. Most are women, though I do think that men is like a sleeping category. There's so much resale inventory for men. Yeah. The styles don't change over as much. And so there's a lot of inventory that still is kind of aligned to the things that are selling new. So don't sleep on men, but most of our target right now is women. And it really, from an age range perspective, is like 25 to 40-year-old women. I think as you kind of come out of college and you're making the transition into the real world, you suddenly have, some income, you're looking to update your wardrobe, you're trying to find your personal style. And I think there's a lot of consumption in those years. Then you're getting married, you're going to weddings, you are becoming a mother, like all of these things require a lot of consumption. And so it's the shoppers and specifically kind of that population of women we've had the most success with. I think because they are shopping, but they're also looking for a lot of deals.
We're in the, Erin and I are in the sort of 40s and up category. And I would say what's important for me is quality fabrics. And to your point, Kate, beautiful fabrics are often incredibly expensive. A cashmere knit is going to cost more than a Uniqlo, or Zara cheap knit. And so, but being educated by a personal stylist on fabric composition, how to care for the garments and what you're looking for. If you can find a beautiful cashmere or woolen knit sweater or jumper on a resale site, even if it's not new with tags, even if it's, I mean, everything's going to pill slightly, but I think that's a great way of being able to facilitate the need that customers have for quality now, that quiet luxury, rather than consistently buying really crappy materials that only last a season. And you know, Erin, would you be the same? You think clients are looking for quality?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially the midlife and beyond ladies, we want quality. We're kind of done with the quick,
with the fast fashion. Yeah. So this is Beni. Beni is a way of providing that. Yeah. There's so many, as you're talking, Kate, there's so many ideas that stylists, I think, can jump on here in terms of interesting services that you can pitch to clients, whether it's sourcing your rehearsal dinner outfits, bridal outfits, bridesmaid outfits, things like that are typically large purchases, but I guess worn only once or twice. Would Beni fall into the rental market as well, in a sense of, you know, the rental market, renting a gown or buying it sort of in that sort of resale environment, it's all contributing to a more sustainable purchasing behavior?
Yeah, we don't work with rental companies just yet. I think there is a world where when you click on Beni, you see, you know, could I rent this right now from Rent the Runway or Newly or some of these other services? That's not currently an integration that we have. Going back to an earlier point, though, I think what's amazing about Stylist is that if you think about sustainability in fashion, it's kind of this like butterfly effect. And the best possible thing that you can do is reduce. So just reduce consumption overall. And I think one of the ways to do that is by shopping smarter, is by really understanding your style, really understanding what's going to fit me well, what looks good on me, what colors like match my profile. Because I think when we are spontaneously shopping and we fall, you know, prey to the Instagram ad, we end up buying, you know, a random color or a random style. And then it comes and we're like, oh, for some reason, I just never choose that when I go to get dressed. And I think you end up
that never
it's a fun
worn.
Piece. It's not right.
It's fun, but it's not for you. Yeah.
Right. And so I think stylists have such a key role to play in that, and helping people really understand, like, what are the pieces that I need? Yeah. And then when you think about how do I get those pieces, that's where resale becomes really interesting. I think to your point around quality, one of the things that we've started paying a lot more attention to, and Vestiaire Collective actually just put out an awesome report where they did a big study and basically found, from a cost per wear perspective, buying a luxury piece of fashion that you can last for years and years and is high quality, made with good materials, the cost per wear of that ends up being significantly more affordable than if you buy, you know, a fast fashion piece or a jacket from Zara or H&M, but then continue to buy a new one the next year and a new one the next year and a new one the next year. And so I think I think resale is a way for all of your clients to be able to say, hey, there might be brands that are out of your price range, but it's worth the splurge. And we're going to get it as close to your price range as possible by finding the resale option. So it's like, get the Burberry trench coat instead of the dupe of the Burberry trench coat, you know, because you're going to have that for years, and the cost per wear and the affordability over time, you know, is actually more advantageous. So I think it's I love the connection between kind of stylists helping you decide what you should get, and then what's the best way to go get it. And that's hopefully where we can be of service.
So we want our listeners, we want them to go out, get this extension, start using it. And I'm just curious, you know, you mentioned maybe in the future tapping into the rental market. Do you have any areas that you're wanting to kind of move into in the future that you can share with us now?
The trajectory.
Other ideas?
I think one of the things that we just launched, actually, but I think will be a game changer for stylists, is the ability to save things into collections. So as you are out shopping on these resale marketplaces, being able to save things and then organize them into different buckets so that you can say, like, oh, these are my resale finds for like my bridal looks. These are my resale finds for
Gucci,
my upcoming vacation or for Gucci. And I think where we're excited to have some fun with that is there's all these people who kind of thrift as a hobby. And as you're out there shopping, you're finding all these great things, but have these kind of moments where you're like, oh, it's not in my size, but this is objectively like an amazing find. Or I don't need another one of these, but like someone should have this. Being able to use our community to find those diamonds in the rough and then share those collections out for other people to help them find great things, I think will be awesome. But for stylists specifically, I think that tool could be really helpful because you could actually do some of the work for your clients in finding some of those things and then share, a catered collection to them specifically.
Yeah, cutting down the time. We, in our the Going Virtual business program that Erin, Carla and I run, pricing your services is a really important module or a really important component. And when we're doing that, we need to be mindful, obviously, of how long it takes to deliver a service, really basic stuff. The problem, I think, for a lot of image consultants up until now has been they know there's a market for services that help customers shop resale and style. There are those purchases, but it became a cost to the stylist to do it in terms of how many hours it takes so long. So now that you're able to cut that time down almost about 90% because it is so quick, you just sort of, as Erin and Kate, you've explained, type in a particular product and you'll get all of these listings. It opens up a new revenue stream. And then again, to continue that message of shopping smarter, being able to use an additional tool like Hue and Stripe or GoodPix or ShopShare or Moon, there's a lot of fantastic tech platforms that stylists can use now to keep a record of what they purchased and then making sure there's suggested outfit ideas for those purchases that people can access on their phone, again, to minimize those pointless purchases. I mean, exhibits A through Z in my wardrobe, like things that I go, oh, that's just so fun. Never buy anything if you think it's fun. I think that should be a general rule because you don't wear it and it's just a waste of everyone's money, time, and obviously resources from the planet. But yeah, I'm excited to see how stylists use Beni now to reach the market that has been desperately looking for help shopping sustainably.
Yeah. This is such a great offering for personal stylists and image consultants. And I also wonder if you could talk a little bit about your affiliate program, and is that something you want to get out there, and what kind of person are you looking for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Stylists have been most of our affiliates so far. So anyone that is interested, I'll share information with you that you can maybe put in the notes of the podcast. Yeah. But stylists are a wonderful affiliate because essentially, as part of your business, you are using Beni to be able to do your job faster, but also giving it as a option for your clients to use as a tool for themselves when they have kind of recommendations from you. And so if you're helping spread the word, we want to be able to reward you for all the people that you're sharing Beni with. And so we have this affiliate program where we can give you a specific link so that when someone signs up for Beni with that link, you'll get credit for it. And really our affiliates are also the people that we go to do product testing, to get their opinion. They're kind of like our power users. And so stylists have been a huge help in shaping what the product becomes. And, ultimately we want to make sure the tool is useful for you. And so would love anyone to join the affiliate program. We've been having a lot of fun with it.
I love how you called it pays to be friends with Beni Fits.
Yes.
Friends with Beni Fits. That's the program. I got to say, your copywriting on your website is so creative and fun. Yeah. Whoever wrote that, or
I cannot take credit. I have a wonderful director of marketing, Catherine Sullivan, who is a copywriting genius. So most of the playful, fun things are credit to her.
I loved the vibe of the website. It felt very welcoming and fun. Well done.
And to get people to read, again, as I said, like how many emails do we all receive daily from different businesses? But the fact that I read the Beni newsletter like start to finish, that's the dream. So to whoever, Catherine, I presume, writing that, it was really, really smart, really engaging and really interesting. Can we just touch on that, on the emails? Because, of course, as everyone knows, when you're trying to build and market your business and nurture your subscribers and convert clients, you're trying to build that relationship. Email marketing is a pivotal part of that strategy. But it is very hard to write emails that are engaging, that people want to read. So I was interested when I read your newsletter that shared the behind the scenes of your own marketing efforts. Can you talk us through that a bit?
I think the newsletter has been kind of an evolving thing. I think ultimately what we learned is that as much as people are following the business, they're all also following the humans behind the business. And so really kind of leaned into this idea of building in public. We want to be the welcoming party to the world of resale. We want to bring people in and make it feel like a party that everyone's invited to, that you want to attend, and that when you come, you're like super welcome and having a great time. And so I think as we think about our brand, we really want to constantly be extending that invitation and then making you feel really included in the process. So giving behind the scenes of what we're building, asking, openly for feedback, answering, we have a section in our newsletter that's like, you asked, we answered. And then sometimes it's, we asked, you answered. And I think we've been having a lot of fun kind of bringing people into the journey and making them feel like they're building this product with us, because at the end of the day, I don't only think of Beni as a product or a tool, but it really is this movement of how we get people thinking about resale, thinking about alternatives to buying new. And so the more fun we can make it and the more we can kind of engage them and bring them into that conversation, the better. And I think we've also just had so much fun. This world there's so many people playing different pieces of this giant puzzle. And so it's been really fun. We do a community spotlight where, we'll highlight a company that's doing textile recycling, and then we'll highlight a company that's doing styling services, and then we'll highlight, a podcast about whatever. So we can put this one in. But I think as we do those community spotlights, it's also, it's not just self-serving to us and promoting Beni all the time. It's also like, we have this platform. How do we give back to other people in this community? And I'm a big believer that, like, if you just put good energy out there, it comes back, even if you can't measure it. And so I've really leaned into kind of the community building, because it's so important to kind of bring all the different people together.
It works. This is what I want everyone to sort of, one of the things I really want people to understand. From a consumer perspective, I'm telling you that it worked because I not only read it, I then remembered your business. I recommended it to a friend. The language, obviously, for me, it was interesting because it's from a marketing perspective, is fantastic. So I think what you're doing is amazing. And not only is the strategy there, we all talk about strategy, but it's great when we actually hear, no, that worked in practice as well as in theory. And you are creating a community and people do feel excited. I think the ease with which you could just install it, it works, it's fast, you understand it, there's no friction there, which I know would have taken a lot of pain, sweat and tears. So thank you, we appreciate it.
That's the goal, for it to be, seamless and easy. I think if you can make complicated things seem really simple, that is when you've struck magic. So I don't know if we're totally there yet. I think there's still a lot of things to do, but excited that you've been having that experience.
I want to ask you one more question, just briefly. Yeah. How can personal stylists use Beni to grow their business? Do you have any specific ideas that you could just throw out there as, so we can think about that?
Oh, it's a great question. I think one, just like the nature of the business, because it's saving you time, hopefully that time is freed up to then go get more clients, to go, add additional services, to do other things. So I think the time saving is not the most sexy answer, but is like a really tangible one. I think the other piece to consider is as people are looking for these deals, if you're able to use resale to save people money on the things that they were going to buy after your recommendation, like all of a sudden the money that they, like the value that they're getting from your service is not just the styling, but it's also the procurement. Right. And so I think you can think about, you know, how do you build that into your cost? How do you build that into your pitch? How do you say, like, I have, you know, I'm going to not just
save you money on designers.
I can save you money because I have, you know, I'm really good at finding the best deals on these things that, you know, that you're going to buy anyways, because we just spent this, you know, all this time figuring out what exactly you want to buy. And then I think it's interesting. There's maybe like a discovery piece too, where I don't know. I think it depends person by person, but you can find really unique pieces in resale. And so as you start diving into that world and curating things for your clients, I think, you know, that could be a niche of like, or just a way to differentiate yourself, maybe that you have access to like more interesting pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I don't know. It's a good question though. I'll have to think about it. And hopefully as more stylists, you know, join our affiliate program and follow the newsletter, we can build for them and build, you know, in ways that allow you to really integrate this into your business.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate your time, Kate. And again, for anyone that would like to learn more about Beni, you can literally just Google Beni, Beni app, and install it on your Chrome browser, I believe. Download it to your phone. It takes 2 seconds.
Yep. So the website is joinbeni.com. And we are available on desktop for Chrome and Safari browsers, and then on mobile, iOS and Safari only, but in the version or in the form of an app and also a mobile extension. Yeah, give it a try.
Perfect.
Well, congratulations, Kate. Thank you for bringing this wonderful tool to us. It's going to save us so much time. We're grateful.
Thank you for using it. And yeah, great to meet you both. Really appreciate the time.
Thanks, Kate.